I want to get to a lot in 4 minutes, okay? So let's start with Hope Hicks.
All right.
What was this hearing all about? Because it appears, based on that reaction, that we're going to court.
Well, it was a deposition taken behind closed doors. Now, remember, the House Intelligence Committee last year had her for many, many hours. She's been interviewed by the Senate. She's been interviewed by the Mueller team. So nobody quite understood why she was back in the U.S. Capitol yesterday doing essentially another deposition. My sources that were inside and did the interviewing said it was quite embarrassing to watch the Democratic congressman essentially ask Hope Hicks about her love life. I think that's very bizarre to have a bunch of old pervy congressmen asking somebody who has no new information about her love life. I think the American people would be ashamed if they knew what actually happened in that room.
That came up in that hearing room yesterday?
That's the folks that I talked to are telling me.
What's relevant about that?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
The president was with Sean last night by telephone, talked about subpoenas flying left and right. Listen.
Nancy Pelosi hands out subpoenas like they're cookies. I will tell you, when Jim and when Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan and Devin and all these people, when they went to Paul Ryan to get a subpoena because they found the same things that we're talking about, Paul would say, well, let's take it easy. Let's not this. It was impossible. You couldn't get a subpoena. She hands out subpoenas like they're cookies.
It was a clever line, I guess, trying to just cut through this and understand it. Give us perspective on where the investigation of the investigators is today. What has moved forward, sir?
So what I would remind, the president had it mostly right, but also what he didn't talk about was how DOJ and the FBI continually blocked our subpoenas. So we had very targeted subpoenas, and oftentimes they would use the Mueller team, for example, as the reason why they couldn't answer our questions. One of those questions is about the second scope memo. So remember, they had the first scope memo that didn't even meet the qualifications that Rod Rosenstein had signed in early 2017 that created Mueller in the first place.
Coordination with the Russian government, correct, sir?
Right, and then there was a second scope memo that we were not allowed to see. Finally, it went to court. A little piece came out about Paul Manafort. What we found out in that was it was based on the dossier. We long, as Republicans, said, wait a second, you have no evidence here of collusion. You used the dossier for the second scope memo. DOJ, FBI, stonewall us, Mueller stonewalled us. Now we've finally been able to see it. I can't go line by line what was in it, but I can tell you that the bulk of it, nearly in its entirety, it was based off the Steele dossier. Why is the Steele dossier important? Just to remind the viewers, this was the information that the Clinton campaign got from the Russians, ultimately, is where it came from.
And that's the information they took to the FISA court to get their surveillance then.
And the same information they took to the FISA court. That's correct.
Byron York is writing today in the Washington Examiner. Here's the title of his piece. Now word of mysterious third scope memo for Robert Mueller. What do you know about that, sir?
So I don't know if it's a third scope memo, but what it looked to me like, as somebody who has read it, is it looked like a CYA memo. So it looked like it was, and we know this, the public knows this, you can go into the Mueller report, what I call the Mueller dossier, and you can see in there, they talk about this expanded investigation, and they list a bunch of names in there. And so but it looks to me like they wanted a reason, there must have been a legal reason why they needed to add an addendum to this, because my guess is they expanded it so far and wide. And remember, by this time, this is in October, they already know there's no collusion. So they start to investigate random Americans like Roger Stone. And remember, at the end of the day, what did they get Roger Stone for? They got Roger Stone for lying to Congress. So why was Roger Stone put into anything like what they're saying? That we have no idea why he's in this.
About 15 seconds left. I'm going to cut through a lot of things that happened between Election Day and Inauguration Day is something that Bill Barr is keenly focused on. In 15
That's
seconds,
right.
sir, what do we ultimately find out what was going on?
Yeah, we will get the full picture. That I am quite sure of, because we've sent over 8 criminal referrals to DOJ. I expect that some of those will be acted on, and I think the big question is how many people will ultimately be prosecuted in this. But I am confident we will get the full story.
All right, sir. Thank you for your time. We'll speak again. Devin Nunes, the Republican from California. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now on to